Hi there, Joko here from A Pocket Full of Happiness, and in this video I'm going to create two masculine cards using some new products. Um, so I started out by cutting the panel for the color panel for my first slimline card, and I am adding some lines with my bone folder just to give it a bit of interest and texture. This is an easy way to do or add texture without even having an embossing folder. I would have probably used an embossing folder if I had any with a simple design like that, but I don't. So now I'm adding this panel to my card, and then I start working on my design, for which I chose a few different colors, yellows, oranges, blues, and grays. I thought this would be a good combination for men. Um, Probably one of my favorites. I don't know if they like it, but I like them for men because of the orange and the yellow. There's a bit of fun to it. Some men, at least the ones I know, they tend to opt for one boring color and that's it. I'm not gonna name names. Anyway, these cards are for, well, one of them is for a very good friend of ours, and the other one I don't know, but I asked a friend if they need cards for boys, just so that I could create something. And so I am die cutting all the numbers from different colors and also from white, because I wanted to use the white outline for all of them. And now I am cutting really skinny strips of every color because I want to create a striped look on the main number. So I'm adding all the numbers, but I want one number to stand out, which is the um, birthday. No, that I'm not saying that right? But anyway, you know what I mean. It's the number I need to stand out. Um, so sorry. Um, I'm repeating the strips, so it is gonna be, well, twice. And you see, this is what I want to do. I want to have some white at the top and the bottom, and then some stripes in the middle. So what I'm doing here, to have a flush surface, I am adding white at the top. So I have actually two layers of cardstock, and I was not planning this. Had I planned it, I would have planned it better, because then I would have really just used copy paper or printer paper, because die cutting two heavyweight cardstock layers is not so well. With these dies it works because they are simple, but um, you know, in fact, I will apologize now because I'm not even die cutting from them. I just realized, well, it's 4 a.m. I think, maybe. I just don't know what I'm saying anymore. Um, that I just realized that I'm actually going to fussy cut this. So forget what I said. But if you would die cut, then it would be better to do it on printer paper. Anyway, so I want this number to stand out, which is why I kind of used all the colors that I use on the single numbers, if that makes sense. In my head it does, but I think when the card comes together, you can see how it stands out. And as luck would have it, 4 and 5 are consecutive numbers, so it's funny, but it is the number I needed for my friend. So this is what my plan is. I'm just going to add the numbers kind of randomly, but from the top to the bottom. And I am adding, well, first of all, it's going to be 2 layers because I didn't want to waste anything. So I had to die cut every number twice, right? From white and color cardstock. And I did not want to waste anything. So I just added both of them. And so I have a more dimensional look. And then I'm already working on the second card in the meantime. This is, it happens very often that either I'm stuck with one card design and then I move on to the next and come back to it later, or anyway, I often just get bored with one and then move on to the other, or I just create two at the same time. It happens. Normally, I never do a card from start to finish and then move on to the next. So this is my second card, and this one is super simple, but because this is for a 16-year-old boy, and I asked my son, who is um, turning 14 this year, I asked him what kind of card would be okay, and he was just saying nothing more than this that it should not have any, you know, anything complicated on it. So there's a lot of white on it for my taste, but I guess it's simple. So now I'm just trying to figure out what angle I want to use for those stripes. And now that I'm looking at it, I actually really like the angled design. I don't know why I did not go with that. And again, I'm adding some fold lines for texture. And then I'm trying to figure out where I should place these stripes. And yeah, I don't know. I guess you could measure this and then be more precise, but I'm just kind of eyeballing it, and I just wanted to have all the stripes between those fold lines, if that makes sense. And then I centered it, I marked it with a pencil just so I know where I have to go. And of course, I did not do fold lines there. That's why I kind of tried to figure it out while I was doing the fold lines. And then I decided to go from the inside out with the colors, if that makes sense. So I did not repeat them twice as I originally planned, but instead I placed the 2 grays in the middle, and then I'm going from the inside out with the other colors. I don't know why I decided to do that. I guess I just wanted to do something different. And now I'm gonna trim it down, and in fact I'm going to trim off more than I originally planned, just so that I have, I thought I want to add a little bit more dimension, and for that I was gonna use this foam sheet, but then I wanted that panel to be like just slightly smaller than the background, so that it stands out even more. Yeah, that's about it. And then I only will add the number, and that's it. So I don't know. I just gave the card to my friend today, so I have no idea but when the boy is gonna get it. So I probably will not hear if he liked it at all, but it's okay. I just needed somebody to create a card for. Then I decided to add the outline as well for the number, but then not for the hashtag, not just because I probably didn't even have space for that, but I wanted the hashtag to stand out on its own so that it's a bit different than the number itself, if that makes sense. Um, and then I'm adding a few more layers of white die cuts in the middle, again, just to add a little bit more texture. You know, if it's white on white, I feel like it needs texture, dimension, and, you know, just so that everything stands out and pops. So that card is done. That was a very simple card. And then I'm coming back to this one. By now I glued down all those numbers and fussy cut them out and placed them in a way that I wanted to glue them down on my panel. And just so that my number stands out even more, I'm adding foam tape to that, the 45 I mean. And then I'm not going to add foam tape to the rest of the numbers, of course. So I am gluing this down, and then I try to position each number the way I feel like they should be. And then later, excuse me, once I've done that, I realized that I could have spaced them out a little bit differently, because it felt like, especially in one spot, it felt like that there is that it's empty, and it doesn't seem intentional somehow. So then I started thinking about ways I could add something that fills out that space, something that is not enamel dots that I did not want to add for a guy, I think. So I figured that I could maybe use the birthday banner die, or at least the letters from the die, and I could fill the space. But then I realized that there's gaps everywhere. So what should I do? So you will see in a second what I decided to do. And then I also added happy birthday to this simple card. I actually thought that I was done with it already. So now here I am, and trying to play with the letters, how I should space them. And then I all of a sudden thought, okay, then why don't I use them like enamel dots, right? I can put them everywhere, and it kind of goes from top to bottom, all the letters, so they are in order, and they fill out those spaces, I think. And now for the other one, I also die cut those letters from blue, because I decided to that I need those letters to pop or to stand out. I did not want to leave them white. And now I am gluing down all these little letters, and I do remember that some of them I placed in a way that I later didn't like, but what's done is done. It's just card making, right? um, I layered up these letters again just so that they pop more. I probably could have die cut them from blue twice, but for some reason, for layering, I always use white cardstock. I don't know why, because it's not cheaper than the colored cardstock, so that's not the reason. So once I glued everything down, I am actually ready with both cards. I think for this type of work, these tiny letters, you really absolutely need tweezers, or I don't know, some other tool. At least me, there's no way I could ever do this with my hands. They are just too big for this. So I cannot live without my tweezers, I realized recently. I don't know why my white keeps changing. I think my camera cannot deal with all the white. It's sometimes yellow, sometimes gray. I hope it doesn't bother your eyes too much. Okay, so here's the two cards. I hope you like them. I hope I could give you some ideas. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.